Oprah has been on a downward spiral recently, and one of the reasons is due to her lying about her weight loss, and her fans are mad. When Oprah stepped into showbiz, she was bigger in size compared to other stars. In fact, her weight was actually used against her disguised as jokes. This happened when Joan Rivers was hosting The Tonight Show in 1985 during Oprah's first ever national TV appearance. Oprah recalled the incident in her book Food, Health, and Happiness, writing, "It was all going smoothly, I was starting to settle in, and then it happened. Joan interrupted with perhaps the only question I hadn't prepared for. So, how do you gain all the weight? Wait a minute, did she just use my national television debut to ask me why I was so fat? The studio started spinning. The word fat reverberated in my brain." She continued by saying Joan sat behind Johnny's big wooden desk, telling me that she didn't want to hear my excuses and that I shouldn't have let this happen. She wagged her flawlessly manicured finger at me, pointed out that I was still a single girl, and challenged me to come back 15 pounds lighter the next time she hosted. Now, this was obviously a horrible thing for Joan to do, but after this, Oprah didn't want to be known as that fat girl and started her own weight loss journey that had many ups and downs. Now, in the past, Oprah said, "It was public sport to make fun of me for 25 years. I've been blamed and shamed, and I blamed and shamed myself." One hurtful moment came early in her career when she landed on fashion critic Mr. Blackwell's list. "I was on the cover of some magazine and it said dumpy, frumpy, and downright lumpy. I didn't feel angry, I felt sad, I felt hurt, I swallowed the shame, and I accepted it that it was my fault." So Oprah then worked on herself, but not in the best way. Now, one controversial moment regarding her weight loss was in 1988. Now, she started her show off by taking off an oversized coat and wheeling out a wagon holding 67 pounds of animal fat, the amount she had lost in less than 5 months. It was full of theatrics. Now, the episode drew huge attention, earning the highest ratings in the show's history. However, years later, Oprah expressed regret about it, stating that it was simply an ego trip, and admitted that she eventually regained all the weight back. That's not all with her weight though, as she's recently been in another controversy regarding it. In December 2023, Oprah told People magazine that she had been using an unspecified weight loss drug in addition to lifestyle changes to maintain her healthy weight. "The fact that there's a medically approved prescription for managing weight and staying healthier in my lifetime feels like a relief, like redemption, like a gift," she said in her cover story. "I now use it as I feel I need it, as a tool to manage not yo-yoing." But before that, Oprah said she'd been tied to the idea that maintaining a healthy weight was a matter of sheer willpower. But here's the thing. Oprah had been the face of the brand Weight Watchers for over like 10 years, and I mean, she promoted it all the time and swore by it. But then in 2024, she decided to step down and stop working with Weight Watchers altogether. It seemed like she didn't need them anymore now that she started taking the weight loss medication. Now, many people have said that she's a sellout and that everything she ever stood for was a lie, and to be honest, I can't really blame people for being upset over this. Now, it's very likely that she's taking Ozempic or something Ozempic adjacent, and a lot of people feel tricked and are upset. Not to mention, not everyone can afford to go on weight loss medication, and it's just like everything Oprah stood for was a lie. Recent controversy, though, has to do with the recent presidential election. Kamala Harris had a lot of celebrities endorse her, and one was Oprah. But Oprah did not come for cheap. The Washington Examiner had reported that Oprah's media company, Harbo Productions, had received a fee from Harris's campaign for the interview they did in September. How much did they pay her? $1 million. Now, once everyday people found out about this, they were furious, as to Harris's campaign sent out a bunch of messages to civilians asking for donations for the campaign, and fans were not happy that some of their money went to Oprah, who has a net worth of $3 billion. Now, honestly, that just seems like she's being super greedy. Now, it was then said that Oprah donated $150 million to the campaign, but that was false too. Nicole Nichols, a spokesperson for Oprah, told USA Today that the show host had not donated to Harris's campaign. No donations to Harris from Oprah nor her company, Harpo Inc., are listed on the Federal Election Commission website or Open Secrets, a nonpartisan research group that tracks US political spending. Now, Oprah has then then come out though saying she was paid, but it was for her production company. "I was not paid a dime. My time and energy was my way of supporting the campaign for the live streaming event in September. My production company, Harpo, was asked to bring in set design, lights, cameras, microphones, crew, producers, and every other item necessary, including the benches and the chairs that we sat on, to put on a live production. I did not take any personal fee, however the people who worked on that production needed to be paid and were, end of story," she said. Now, an insider from the Harris camp backed that up, noting that no one was compensated, but that per campaign rules, they are legally required to pay for costs associated with appearances, including production, travel, and costs for their crew. The $1 million from Harris for president was only about meeting campaign finance obligations, and specifically said event production in its itemized statement. But on an Instagram post about the situation, one fan commented, "Y'all are thinking Oprah's support can be purchased is beyond me." Now, Oprah herself responded in the comments, saying, "Thank you so much for saying this. I want to high five you and give you a hug. Usually I'm reluctant to respond to rumors in general, but these days I realize if you don't stop a lie, it just gets bigger." But it's important to note that this isn't the first time Oprah's been questioned by the general public about funds. In early August 2023, a series of wildfires broke out in Hawaii, and it was devastating. Now, in light of the tragedy, Oprah and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson took to Instagram and TikTok, and in a video they introduced their new collaboration, the People's Fund of Maui. They said that the relief fund was intended to raise money for Maui residents who had been affected by the tragedy. They claimed that because people were so confused about how to help Maui residents, they sought to create a fund that would directly provide residents with relief. Now, in a lengthy caption, the pair wrote, "We're honored to announce the People's Fund of Maui, a fund putting money directly into the pockets of those who were affected by the recent wildfires." They then put $10 million of their own money into the fund, but people started questioning this as they were confused as to why the celebs were asking everyday people to donate instead of their celebrity friends, or even them just funding it themselves. Again, Oprah has a net worth of $3 billion. Now, people start calling them out on social media, and instead of taking this critique, Oprah hit back and made things worse. All the online conversations being slammed, lies, conspiracies really took the focus off what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui, she said on a CBS Mornings appearance. "I was on the ground talking to lots of people, trying to figure out how do I best help." Oprah and The Rock then thought about they have both given to charity their whole lives, and felt like starting with $10 million worked because it was enough to kick things off before opening the Maui Wildfires Fund up to people who wanted to help but didn't know how. "I was so excited about it. Then I got up the next morning and I saw all this vitriol and I was like, whoa, what happened here?" she said at the time.
You guys know the actor and comedian Steve Martin, right? Well, he used to do a routine that went like this. You too can be a millionaire. It's easy. First, get $1 million. If you put that routine between hardcovers, you'd have a book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. It's a self-help manifesto that basically says in a nutshell, what you think about, you bring about. The book's central premise, the law of attraction, is that positive thinking is the route to obtaining what you want in life, while negative thoughts will cause bad events to occur. I'll be honest with you, I read it years ago, and I won't share my opinions on it too much, but like anything, I did find some good and some bad. Well, there was a big controversy surrounding Oprah about it back in 2006 because it was the subject of 2 episodes on the Oprah Winfrey Show featuring a dream team of self-help gurus, all of whom contributed to the project. At the time, Oprah wasn't just endorsing it, she championed it, putting herself right in the middle of it all, and made it a prominent theme not only in her life, but it was all over her website, and she would reference it in many moments on her show and in interviews. Her involvement actually helped the book sell more than 2 million copies, which put it ahead of the new Harry Potter book at the time on the Amazon bestseller list. These 2 episodes, however, caused a lot of issues and controversy because Oprah's producers received a letter from one viewer named Kim Tingham, who had received a breast cancer diagnosis shortly after the show aired. They were alarmed by how far she had taken this advice and inspiration. Now, Tingham wrote that she had decided to forego chemotherapy, instead choosing to follow the book's advice literally. The public got wind of this and went into a frenzy, saying that Oprah had promoted cult-like behavior and unrealistic expectations that could be extremely dangerous to a lot of people's lives. Now, Oprah brought Tinkham back on the show to set her straight and urged her not to ignore all the advantages of medical science. Tinkham, who went on to follow another New Age regime laid out in a book called The pH Miracle, actually passed away in December of 2010. Ultimately, Oprah stood by her position that, the law of attraction can affect positive change. The problem is, though, is that there have been many incidents similar to Kim's. Like, a lot of consumers took this advice very seriously, and it had a lot of negative impact on their lives. So not so good. And because of all the backlash, Oprah has tried to keep this incident a secret for years and has since removed both episodes on her channel and website to try and keep the whole debacle under wraps. Next, I want to talk about Oprah's Maui scandal. Now, Oprah has a special connection to the island of Maui, Hawaii. In 2002, she purchased a 23-acre estate, which she has used as a private retreat and vacation home. Must be nice. Oprah's Maui estate, which she named The Farm, features a luxurious main house, guest cottages, a private movie theater, and beautifully landscaped gardens. Now, over the years, Oprah has shared glimpses of her home with her fans through different media outlets. Now, in a response to the 2023 Hawaii wildfires, Oprah and Dwayne Johnson, better known as The Rock, teamed up to support the Maui community. They created the People's Fund of Maui.
Every dollar that you send that goes directly to the people.
They both pledged $10 million to establish the fund, which aimed to provide financial assistance to affected Maui residents. Now, when Oprah and The Rock both contributed their initial $10 million payment to the fund, they also invited the public to contribute their own donations for the rest of it. When it launched, critics began questioning why the two celebs didn't just fund it entirely themselves, especially given their wealth and net worth. And some people have said that we should just be grateful to have help at all, and that nobody, including celebrities, are obligated to help or give money to anything. But the big controversy and issue that many people have is how wealthy Americans have taken over large portions of Hawaiian real estate, even while native Hawaiians struggle to even receive land promised to be returned to them from the US government. People are on a 40-year-old waiting list for a home that the US government stole from natives over a century ago. And during the big fires in Maui, residents fleeing the carnage of the flames were held up at the gates of Oprah's very large fenced property. She was not staying at the vacation home at the time and opened up upon learning of the tragedy, but residents felt a certain way, knowing they had to contact authorities to get permission to cross onto the completely fenced private property. Like, yes, her property is that big that people needed to go through it to escape the fire, so let that sink in. People were also quick to point out that as a literal billionaire, she could afford to rebuild everything, including house, feed all the homeless people that are in Hawaii. And one social media user commented saying she's worth $3 billion. She could do all that stuff for people and still be a billionaire. With another person saying she asked other people for money with the whole, we know it's tough out there, so anything you can afford. Between Oprah and The Rock, they really shouldn't have needed to ask the public. I'm sure both of them could have given just as much without even noticing. One person even made a tweet that said, you guys make more in a day than I'll make in my lifetime. Another good point that someone also called out was asking why they are asking regular folk for money when they literally have millionaire and billionaire friends who collectively could quite literally take care of it all. A funny comment towards Oprah and The Rock was a TikToker that said, hey guys, I think you posted this to social media by mistake. This needs to be sent directly to your friends. And on the real, honestly, I see no lies told, because why are you, a millionaire, asking us, the public, to contribute to this fund when most of us are lucky to afford like an iced venti macchiato once a week? Like, go ask Dr. Phil or Kevin Hart. Now, during an appearance on CBS Mornings, which is actually co-hosted by her best friend Gayle King, Winfrey addressed the backlash that she faced. When asked about the reaction, she said, "Well, this is a really great point about being happier in the midst of an onslaught of being terrorized and vilified online. I will say this. I came out of this experience with so much more compassion for young kids because I was thinking, what if I didn't really know who I am? What if I didn't have the assurance of Invictus, that I am the master of my own fate and the captain of my soul?" And continued on by saying, "So all of the online attacks, lies, conspiracy theories really took the focus off of what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui." Now, this particular clip was shared on X, formerly known as Twitter, and she faced even further criticism because she was then accused of playing the victim. You know, one user wrote, "Oprah playing the victim while trying to sell her book? Gross." Now, despite all of the backlash, Oprah's popularity on social media soared. She gained more than like 110,000 followers between Instagram and TikTok alone. Another person actually wrote, "They're giving Oprah more airtime playing the victim than the real victims. Sad." Another person wrote, "Oprah playing the victim and saying she was terrorized online. Gee, I wonder how the people of Hawaii must feel." And one person hoped Oprah would read all of these comments and said, "Oprah, in case you read this, you are not the victim here. Talk to the people who lost everything. That is where our sympathies and prayers are." Now, a viral TikTok video that has been viewed millions of times made several allegations. They include that Winfrey hired a private firefighting team before the fire spread, hired private security to prevent people seeking shelter at her property, and had previously bought her land for pennies on the dollar. When asked about the viral TikTok, a spokesperson for Oprah said all of the allegations in the videos were false. The original video has since been removed, of course, from the platform. However, reposts with several millions of views are still available. Now, remember the infamous Oprah episode in 2004 where she gifted literally everyone cars? Of course you do. Well, it wasn't so black and white as it seemed. What she didn't want everyone to know is just how difficult it actually was for the audience to be able to drive off in one. It was Oprah's Favorite Things episode. Now, she surprised her studio audience by giving each one of them a brand new Pontiac G6 sedan. The episode, which was part of Oprah's 19th season, featured her favorite products and gifts of the year. At the end of the show, Oprah announced she was giving away 276 cars, each valued at about $28,000. Now, the surprise gift was met with tears, cheers, and screams of excitement, of course. The episode actually became one of the most memorable moments in Oprah's show's history, and it was widely covered in the media. To this day, it has been literally one of the most parodied clips, and people just can't seem to get enough of it. Well, as exciting as everyone was to know they'd just been gifted a car, what followed after is that they were hit with a hard slap of reality when they were told that it wasn't quite totally free. They were then told if they wanted to drive it off the lot, they'd first have to pay about $7,000 in taxes, which, let's be honest, like who, especially around Christmas time, has a free $7,000 just sitting around ready to be dropped on a new car's taxes? If you're already planning on buying a new car, cool, totally get it. But being realistic, I would say more than half of her guests did not have that type of money just readily available. Now, on the plus side, the audience was allowed to choose if they wanted to just take the cash value of the car instead, which, hey, like not bad to go to a taping of the Oprah show and walk out about $28,000 richer, right?
Rumors of a tunnel system below Oprah's home have been around for years, but with all the Diddy drama lately, the rumor is being dug up again. Of course, the alleged tunnels don't just have to do with Diddy. People have been accusing Oprah of being part of a larger kind of situation that is similar in theme to the Diddy stuff, that directly link her to some nefarious alleged activity involving forcing individuals into bad situations. The situation really caught fire when one woman claimed that not only was Oprah a key player, but that she had the address to a tunnel entrance. Adria English filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming she worked for Combs at the Hamptons and Miami parties he threw in the mid to late 2000s. In addition to allegedly being forced to consume things, English claims she was also forced to engage in actions she didn't want to do. She claims she was told by Diddy Diddy that in exchange for her actions, he would help her and her then boyfriend break into the entertainment world in their respective industries. English alleges that he never kept up his end of the bargain. Now she is suing Diddy and those deemed his co-conspirators for $50 billion. Adria English did have legal representation, but they have since parted ways. The cited reason was irreconcilable differences. One of the lawyers claimed that English was disrespectful and self-destructive, making it impossible to continue representing her. However, the legal team did say that they never lost faith in her case, just in her. To which English has allegedly responded with, "I'm the client, you work for me." But how does this tie back to Oprah? A major point of conflict between English and her legal team was that they requested that English not speak to the media. Soon after parting ways, English spoke to independent media, and the interview made its way around TikTok. English claimed that there were tunnels under Oprah's home. She also made the bold statement, she sees what's going on because she's a participant. As of right now, no credible news site has confirmed that or that a tunnel exists under any of Oprah's properties. I do not wish to discredit Adria English, just clarify that the information she shared has not been officially proven yet. Oprah has found her name next to Diddy in the headlines after people noticed how comfortable she appeared with the rapper in party snapshots. She is being accused of aiding disgraced music artist Sean Diddy Combs in his unlawful activities. As mentioned, Sean Diddy Combs is in some serious trouble right now after multiple people have stepped forward accusing him of doing a lot of things without consent and just generally being a really awful person, and definitely not the kind of guy you'd want your name next to, especially not if you're someone like Oprah, a personality who has established themselves over the years as someone in firm support of the movement. Coming back to haunt Oprah are the pics of her partying with Diddy at his own events and others. Many big Hollywood names have appeared on a Diddy guest list in the past, but not everyone has been a guest at a freak off. Diddy was known as the party host in the 2000s. He hosted massive birthday celebrations, the white attire parties, wild after parties. The bashes were known for being over the top and expensive, and everyone wanted to be there. It was a status symbol to be around that much wealth. Allegedly, sometimes the Diddy after parties were freak-offs, but many news sites report that by the time a party descended into a freak-off, oftentimes the famous faces had already left. But people aren't just accusing Oprah of attending freak-offs, but also helping put them on. Some sites even claiming she provided the victims. Remember the alleged tunnels we just talked about? Well, some people claim that they connected Diddy's home to Oprah's, and that is how they did it. But unrelated to the Diddy tunnels are those that people claim to exist at her Hawaiian property. Over the years, many online sites and Facebook posts have accused the talk show host of having a private tunnel system underground the 1,000 acres she owns in Maui. Again, this is not yet proven. However, that doesn't mean her Hawaiian property is free of controversy. Many Native Hawaiians and others believe that Oprah should not own so much of the island. This particular controversy picked up again after the devastating fires in Hawaii. Oprah and Dwayne The Rock Johnson set up a fund where people could donate to aid those affected. Having a billionaire and a millionaire asking people to donate left a bad taste in people's mouths, despite the pair putting forward a $10 million donation to jumpstart the fund. To summarize, when it comes to the Oprah situation in Hawaii, people want her to return her land to the Hawaiian people, and instead of asking the public to donate, to take up that responsibility herself, as she is likely in a much better financial position. From a completely different section of the world, we have Oprah's school scandal. The Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy was supposed to be a place where girls can learn and feel empowered, but a scandal soon tarnished that legacy. The dorm matron was accused by multiple students of acting inappropriately towards them. The matron was arrested and faced 14 charges. In addition to those of inappropriate physical contact, the matron was also accused of getting into a physical confrontation with a dorm parent and, separately, injuring 3 while operating a golf cart. This information was quite shocking when it first came out. However, when details from the hiring process of said dorm matron emerged, the sequence of events made a little more sense. While dealing with a different issue, it was discovered that the dorm matron was one of 8 women hired by the headmistress allegedly from a company called Party Design, which was not Oprah's intention. According to an article from CBS News, the star had wanted nurses to act as dorm matrons. Those hired were later found to be totally unqualified to handle the position, something the headmistress had been warned about. While dealing with the dorm matron situation, Winfrey had made some comments about losing confidence in the headmistress and doing an overhaul of the school, something something the headmistress claims made it hard for her to find work after. This resulted in her suing Oprah for about $250,000 on the grounds of defamation. The two women eventually came to an agreement privately shortly before their scheduled court date. The school and Oprah's rumored Diddy connections aren't the first time Oprah has found her name tied to similar scandals. Oprah was pictured many times with the big Hollywood producer who had a very public falling out with the industry after his past came to light. Seal joined that conversation after he seemingly publicly called out Oprah on Instagram for her relationship to this producer. Seal posted a couple of photos featuring Oprah looking friendly with that man. The text reading, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal added his own caption to the photo, calling out an individual for hearing the rumors, but not doing anything about it. Seal might not have named names, but Oprah's face was hard to miss. Everyone assumed he was taking a dig at the talk show host. Seal claimed this wasn't the case, and it just happened to be Oprah in the picture with the man. It was more about the producer in the picture than the talk show host, and the text was to be taken as a generalization of the entertainment industry rather than a direct attack. But this caught more people's eye than anticipated, and it actually made some folks look into the relationship between the producer and host. One Quora user named Marina Cocaine claimed that there was a startling connection between the two. Back in 2019, two documentaries with similar themes premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, but only one seemed to earn media coverage and good reviews. One doc was about the previously mentioned producer, and the other about Michael Jackson. A Hollywood entertainment lawyer made the claim that in an effort to distract from his own doc, the producer and Oprah helped fund the Jackson documentary. Other than speculation and rumor, there is nothing out there to confirm if this is true or not. About the doc Oprah did help fund, she claimed she provided support because she believed the survivors and that this issue was too important to stay silent. However, Oprah has been accused of using her platform to uplift people over the years that turn out to be evil, like in the case of her segment on John of God. Originally thought to be something of a miracle healer, it was later discovered that the star of the segment was accused of over 600 instances of physically engaging with people without consent. John of God ended up receiving hundreds of years in prison for those charges, among others. Oprah gave this man a spotlight moment during her programming years prior, framing him in a good light. Since the accusations, his interviews were deleted from her site, and a note was put up in their place with the message that Oprah hoped justice would be served. Oprah has found her name tied to Diddy in recent months after people noticed how comfortable she appeared with the rapper in party snapshots. Now she has been accused of aiding disgraced music artist Sean Diddy Combs and making his transgressions happen over the years. You might recall that Sean Diddy Combs is in some serious trouble right now after multiple people have stepped forward accusing him of engaging with them and others without consent, forcing people into unwanted scenarios, and making people consume things unknowingly, filming and then using that footage from inappropriate parties that he called freak-offs as blackmail to keep it all on the down low, and just generally being a really awful person. And definitely not the kind of guy you'd want your name attached to, especially not if you're someone as famous as Oprah, who has established themselves over the years as someone in firm support of the Me Too movement and being a beacon of hope. Unfortunately for Oprah, she was spotted at Diddy parties of the past, and it is coming back to haunt her. The thing is though, many big Hollywood names have appeared on a Diddy guest list, but not everyone has been a guest at a freak-off. Diddy in general was known as the party host in the 2000s. He hosted the white attire parties, massive birthday celebrations, after parties. They were known for being extravagant and expensive, and everyone wanted to attend. It was a status symbol to be around that much wealth. Allegedly, sometimes the after parties for Diddy events were freak-offs, but many news publications report that often by the time a party descended into a freak-off, many of the famous names had already left. But people aren't just accusing Oprah of attending freak-offs, but also aiding in putting them on. Some sites even saying that she provided the people. Some people even go so far as to claim that Diddy's home was connected to Oprah's via an underground tunnel system, and that's how they did it. And that's a serious thing to say, but Oprah's tunnel accusations don't even just have to do with Diddy, and they didn't start with him either. People have accused Oprah of being part of a larger, multiple parties involved kind of situation that is similar in theme to the Diddy stuff, that directly linked her to some nefarious alleged activity involving forcing younger individuals into bad situations. Surprisingly, one woman claims not only is Oprah involved, but that she was given the address to a tunnel's entrance. Adria English filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming she worked for Combs at the Hamptons and Miami parties he threw in the mid to late 2000s. She claimed that the drinks she was given on the job had things in them that she didn't ask for, in addition to allegedly being forced to consume assume things, English claimed she was also forced to engage in actions she didn't want to do. Adria English did have legal representation, but unexpectedly, her and her team parted ways. The cited reason was irreconcilable differences. The filing read that they disagreed regarding almost every aspect of the litigation. One of the lawyers claimed that her case was great. The issue at hand was that English allegedly undermined their work and went behind their backs, doing things incongruent to advancing her case. That they never lost faith in her case, just in her. And to which English allegedly responded with, "I'm the client, you work for me." But how does this tie back to Oprah? Well, another major point of conflict between English and her representation was that they requested that English refrain from speaking to the media. Pretty soon after parting ways, English spoke to independent media, and the interview made its way around TikTok gossip pages. English claimed that there were tunnels under Oprah's home. She also made the bold statement, she sees what's going on because she's a participant. As of right now, no credible news site has been able to find information confirming this, or a tunnel system under any of Oprah's properties. In fact, some websites have looked into the tunnel rumor and stated it false. I'm not saying that Adria English is lying, just that the information has not yet been officially confirmed. But Diddy isn't the first time Oprah has found her name tied to some questionable characters. She was famously close to the man, who also had a very public falling out with Hollywood after his past transgressions came to light. Name rhymes with Starvey, anyways you get it. Seal publicly called out Oprah on Instagram for her past relationship for this person. The man posted a couple of pictures featuring Oprah interacting with the man, the text reading, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal added his own caption to this photo, calling out an individual for hearing the rumors but not doing anything about it, and implying that the person was pretending that they didn't know what was happening. Sure, Seal didn't name names, but he did post faces, particularly Oprah's. Everyone assumed he was taking a dig at the talk show host. Seal insisted this wasn't the case, it just happened to be Oprah that was the one pictured with the man. It was more about the man in the picture than the talk show host in the picture, and the text was to be taken as a generalization of the entertainment industry rather than a direct attack. However, people weren't quick to forget it. In fact, this spurred some folks to look closer into the relationship between the two major celebrity figures. One Quora user named Marina Kane made a startling connection between the two parties. Back in 2019, two documentaries with similar themes premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, but only one seemed to earn positive reviews and media coverage. One doc was about the previously mentioned producer, and the other doc was about Michael Jackson. A Hollywood entertainment lawyer made the bombshell claim that the producer and Oprah helped fund the Jackson documentary to draw focus from the one about him. In my own research about this, I was unable to find anything solid confirming this, just what Oprah said about why she provided financial support to the other one. She said she believed the survivors and that the issue was too important to stay silent. A few years ago, a major scandal revealed that Oprah was not as involved with her Leadership Academy as she made it seem. The Leadership Academy was originally designed and created to be a place to uplift girls in the community, but the good deed was quickly tarnished when the dorm matron was accused by multiple students of acting inappropriately towards them. The matron was arrested and faced 14 charges. In addition to those of inappropriate physical contact, the matron was also accused of getting into a physical confrontation with a dorm parent, and separately injuring 3 people while operating a golf cart. Adding more fuel to this fire, Oprah was later sued by the school's headmistress for over $250,000 on grounds of defamation. This was a direct result of the situation with the dorm matron. While that legal battle was happening, Winfrey had publicly commented that she was doing a total overhaul of the school, that she had lost confidence in the headmistress. The headmistress claimed that these statements made it harder for her to find work afterward. Court papers from the case read that Winfrey had originally intended to hire nurses to be the dorm matrons. However, the headmistress went a different route, and according to an article from CBS News, hired 8 young women from a local company called Party Design. Winfrey's lawyers at the time wrote about this, saying these young women were later found to be totally qualified to handle the position, something the headmistress had been warned about. The 2 women were expected to settle this in court, but instead came to an agreement privately shortly before the date. One feature on Oprah's show later came back to bite the host when it was revealed that the star of that segment was accused of over 600 instances of physically engaging with people without consent. The man was called John of God, and he ended up receiving hundreds of years in prison for those charges, among other things. Oprah happened to give this man a spotlight moment during her programming years prior. It framed him in a good light and made him appear as a miracle worker. Since the accusations, his interviews were deleted from her site, and a note was put up in their place with the message that Oprah hoped justice would be served. Oprah spontaneously revealed a shocking secret back in 1995 during a segment on her show. While interviewing 4 mothers who were dealing with issues using substances, Oprah suddenly revealed that she related to the these mothers more than anyone could have guessed. The TV star admitted that she also used the substance in question back in the day. The woman being interviewed at the time often referenced Oprah's honesty and strength, and it appeared that the comments touched Oprah deeply, and she couldn't help but reveal to the mother that they were more similar than she thought. The host said, "This is probably one of the hardest things I have ever said. I relate to your story so much. I have done this. I know exactly what you are talking about." At the time of admission, it had been about 2 decades since Oprah used the substance, but it's clear that it was always weighing on her. She said, "That is my life's great big secret that has always been held over my head." Oprah has been a hot topic lately after people started noticing she appeared in many photos with disgraced rapper Diddy over the years. Some people are wondering just how close these two celebrities really are. Diddy has had many lawsuits filed against him over the past year, accusing him of being intimate without people's consent, feeding people things without consent, hosting elaborate parties in which he would film the activities and then allegedly use that footage to blackmail participants into keeping quiet, and just generally being and doing things that would make him a horrible person and not the type of guy your name or person next to. Unfortunately, people have caught on to the past friendly relationship between Oprah and Diddy, and now people are accusing Oprah of being an accomplice in his crimes. But this incident with Diddy isn't the first time Oprah has been connected to some shady people in the entertainment industry. Music artist Seal seemingly publicly made his stance on Oprah when he posted a picture of the talk show host being very friendly with a widely hated, disgraced former Hollywood producer. Oprah was photographed many times with the big Hollywood producer who had a very public falling out with the industry after his past came to light, kind of like how she has been pictured many times with Diddy. Seal joined the producer conversation after he posted a call out on Instagram. There were a couple of photos with text featuring Oprah looking friendly with the man, the text reading, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal added his own caption calling out an individual for hearing the rumors of the man's actions but not doing anything about it. Seal didn't say Oprah was the individual, but her face was right there. Everyone assumed he was shading Oprah. Seal claimed that this wasn't the case and it was more about the producer in the picture. It just happened to be Oprah opposite him. He also claimed that the text accompanying the image was not a direct attack and instead supposed to be interpreted as a generalization of the entertainment industry. Some people believe that Seal allegedly felt pressured into saying this just because Oprah's face was so heavily featured in the pictures. They found it odd that he would say it wasn't about her when he called out an individual and there were plenty of other people pictured with the man that he could have used. It's definitely an odd situation, and we're still not sure if Seal was trying to call out Oprah for her past relationship to the man, especially as someone who has built a brand around helping victims, or if he really did just want to call out the man and everyone in the entertainment industry for not stopping him sooner. 50 Cent is calling people out left and right now with all the new Diddy allegations, especially those against Jay-Z, and this is something he's done for a long time. Oprah was called out by 50 Cent back in 2019 for her relationship to the former Hollywood producer. In his words, Oprah was going after one demographic of people when it came to certain crimes and letting another demographic get by without much resistance. Their feud has been going on for a while. It started when Winfrey publicly criticized his music and writing style. 50 Cent responded to this with, "Are you going to tell a painter what to paint? I'm an artist. Why am I limited to what you feel should be said?" He also made the claim that Oprah appears to let one demographic of people get away with more than the other. Oprah's track record at the time made it look like she was putting all her focus on condemning the actions of black men and leaving out white men, like that producer. 50 Cent said, "I don't understand why Oprah is going after black men. This is sad. These documentaries are publicly convicting their targets and makes them guilty until proven innocent." The doc he likely was referring to was Leaving Neverland. Oprah helped this doc. It was about 2 men that were sharing their stories about their experiences with Michael Jackson when they were young. Independently, Oprah funding this documentary, it's not odd. She's a prominent figure for the Me Too movement and often speaks out about these issues. What made people suspicious was that this doc that Oprah gave a boost was premiering at the same time as one about that previously mentioned producer. Some people allege this was done on purpose to drown out the noise surrounding the producer's doc. It is suspicious that only one seemed to earn media coverage and good reviews. A Hollywood entertainment lawyer made the claim that all that stuff about boosting this Neverland doc was in fact done in an effort to distract from the producer's own documentary. But other than speculation and rumor, there is nothing out there to confirm if Oprah did fund the doc for these reasons. All she said on her decision to provide financial support was that she did it because she believed the survivors and felt the issue was too important to stay silent. Social media personality Adria English revealed in an interview some pretty shocking secrets about Oprah's properties. She claimed that there is a tunnel system running under Oprah's home. Not only that, but that these tunnels connected to Diddy's home. Not only that, but Diddy and Oprah worked together and transported his victims via the tunnels, and for the last time, not only that, but she was given the address of a tunnel entrance. This is all alleged, of course, because there's no proof that there are tunnels under Oprah's home or ones that would lead to Diddy's house, but rumors of a tunnel system below Oprah's properties have been around for years. People have been accusing Oprah of being part of a larger bad situation for a long time now. The reason Adria English is involved with Diddy is because she unfortunately has shared that she was one of his victims. She filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming she worked for Combs in the 2000s at his Hamptons and Miami parties. In addition to allegedly being forced to consume things, English claims she was also forced to engage in actions she didn't want to do. She claims Diddy told her that in exchange for her actions, he would help her and her then boyfriend break into the entertainment world. English says he never kept up his end of the bargain. Now she is suing Diddy and his co-conspirators for $50 billion. Adria English had legal representation, but they parted ways due to irreconcilable differences. One of the lawyers claimed that English was disrespectful and self-destructive. The legal team did clarify that they never lost faith in her case, just in her. Allegedly, English responded with, "I'm the client, you work for me." But back to Oprah, a major point of tension between English and her legal team was that they told her not to speak to the media. Soon after parting ways, English spoke to independent media, and the interview made its way around TikTok and Instagram gossip pages. This is where English claimed that there were tunnels under Oprah's home. She also made the bold statement she sees what's going on because she's a participant. She claimed that Oprah was recently under house arrest too, after being caught with a young person. Now, regarding the participant thing, there's no proof that Oprah did engage with Diddy or anyone from his parties intimately. And then for the house arrest bit, that was not true. Oprah was never under house arrest. That was a rumor on the internet proven false by multiple news sites and Oprah herself. Actress and comedian Monique accused Oprah of stealing her acting roles. The pair used to get along. Monique actually even considered herself a huge Oprah fan, but that changed after a disagreement regarding the Precious press tour. Oprah served as an executive producer on the Oscar-winning film Precious. Apparently, the film process was great, but then something happened after between the two that completely flipped Monique's point of view on the talk show host. Allegedly, there was a disagreement regarding promotional appearances for the movie. This situation just kicked off their alleged feud. Oprah's actions about a year later only made things worse. Oprah invited Monique's estranged brother onto the show. Her brother had done some pretty terrible things to Monique when she was young, so this Oprah appearance wasn't received well. On top of that, Oprah also invited Monique's other family members too without her knowledge. It was a mess. Speaking on it, Monique said, "You betrayed me, sister. Family is sacred and we don't cross the line with family." Oprah is known for not shying away from tough topics, but many agree that this seriously crossed a line. Due to the drama here, Monique lost out on some opportunities she claimed were previously offered to her. Some of them went to Oprah, leading to Monique claiming that after everything went down, 2 film roles she had were stolen by Oprah. What was once seen as an odd career move by Angelina Jolie turned into the actress dodging a huge scandal. Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey are both huge philanthropists. Oprah hoped to join forces with Angelina Jolie in 2006 when she was opening her Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. But strangely, Angelina refused. This seemed like the kind of thing Angelina would love to work on. She has her own charity that donates thousands to girls' education all over the world, so what happened? Allegedly, Jolie wasn't very happy with Oprah taking Jennifer Aniston's side during the famous Jennifer, Angelina, Brad love triangle. Whether this is the real reason or not, it turns out Angelina not getting involved protected her from a huge scandal. The Leadership Academy officially opened in 2007, and that same year was also the time of the school's first controversy. A female staff member was accused of acting inappropriately towards the young students, as well as physically fighting a dorm parent, and in a separate incident injuring 3 while operating a golf cart. She was arrested and faced 14 charges. As a result of that whole thing, Oprah made it clear that she was doing an overhaul of the school and made the comment that she had lost faith in her headmistress. The headmistress claimed that this made it very hard for her to find work after everything and ended up suing Winfrey on grounds of defamation for over $250,000. The two women settled things privately before their court date.